So most Dogon sculpture is created by blacksmiths who work in both wood and metal. And the blacksmiths are very respected and actually often feared for their deep learning of the occult powers, and they sometimes live apart from the Dogon farmers. And virtually all scholars agree that Dogon sculpture was made for shrines. So I'm showing this figure here. It's a standing figure with raised arms, and it dates to between the 16th and the 20th century. The most distinctive Dogon motif is a single figure with standing with its arms raised, like I'm showing you here. And even though we have one of the arms here that's been broken off, it's very evident that it would have had both arms raised. And this is the usual position that is exemplified for prayer, especially for rain. Yet a variety of other meanings also may be implied. For example, the gesture may indicate penance for having caused a drought or breaking a ritual law. It may relate as well to the ceremony of casting grain from shrine roofs at the beginning of the planting season, and it also resembles a ritual motion made to ward off evil sorcery. And then if we look at it really closely here, we see that despite slightly bent knees, the figure stands with a stately erectness, further emphasized by its elongated neck and its strong oval head. Ample pectoral swelling strongly suggests a female. Breasts, undercut and clear masculine in the figure's genitals, and beard are shown. So we can look at this as being bisexual, which is an image that occurs quite frequently in Dogon art, or we can look at this as simply being androgynous. And androgynous sculptures may refer to primordial beings or perhaps children. But at the same time we see the figure's beard, we also see jewelry worn on the arms and around the neck, suggesting that the status represents a high place in society in this figure. And tests that have been conducted on figures like this indicate that the more abstract figures are generally older than the more detailed naturalistic figures. Move on to this piece. Here we have the seated couple, and I have a video up on this that I would like you to watch because it brings you around the back of it, which is kind of important to be able to see. So this is the Dogon couple, and it evokes balance and referencing roles of female and male. It's associated with spiritual power and luck. So here we have the human couples that are the second most prevalent theme in Dogon sculpture. One of the finest known works is what I'm showing you here, and it depicts a couple seated side by side in sitting on a single stool. So here we have most likely a married couple because he puts his arm around her and holds her, and like I said in the video, if you watch it, it shows you the back of it that she has a child on her back and he has a quiver for arrows on his back. So the next thing I'm showing you here is a horse and rider from Dogon, and it's Dogon from the 19th century or perhaps even earlier, made of wood. And it's an equestrian figure, meaning it's riding on a horse, right? And this is actually the third most common thing that's depicted in Dogon art. And horses are very expensive, so they're associated with the rulers, or what are known as the hogans. And here we see this horse. It's very simple with its elongated legs there. And we know from the jewelry that the figure is wearing around its neck and on its arms that this would indicate, again, a leader, someone who has quite a bit of money because the horses are expensive and all of the jewelry that he is wearing. Next one I'm showing you is lidded container with horse and rider. This dates to between the 16th and the 20th century. This lidded bowl was owned by a hogan, a leader, we know for sure, and was used to contain food at his rites of investiture. The lower section shows 8 seated figures, and then that's supported by 2 horses on the bottom. And the 8 figures that encircle these figures here represent the ancestors, the 8 ancestors of the leader here. And so it's beautifully carved with the piece of wood here going up into these animals, and then the 8 figures here and up into the equestrian, and again hogan, because we know that once again horses are rare for anybody but the leaders to own because they are so expensive. And the last hogan sculpture is different. The other ones I've shown you have all been made of wood, but this is made of iron. And iron is, a fairly difficult material to work with. So the animals that are made of iron are usually quite simplified just because of the metal. Working with the metal is difficult. And so we could say it's economically rendered, which stems partially from the difficulty of the iron. And we see it's, really beautifully done. It has just a few simple twists in it to make the head and the neck and the tail here, but it still has this kind of real elegance to it. And this would be dated to the 20th century or perhaps earlier.